Hello, welcome to the UEFA Champions League draw live. I'm David Brindle. Joining me is Kai Sherlock and Amos Murphy. Liverpool fan, Manchester United fan, Manchester City fan. We've got pretty much all bases covered on local TV, obviously because we don't have a London channel to cover Chelsea. We'll be talking you through all of the draw as it happens live, giving you reaction to the groups that are drawn. And, obviously UEFA haven't started doing the draw yet, so we were just talking about how long it takes UEFA to actually get to a point where they start drawing it. We are unfortunately going to have to do a little bit of it ourselves, but we'll make it fairly more interesting than they do. First of all, gentlemen, how are we feeling? Kai, how are you?
Yes, I'm all right, David. I was just saying before we came on air, there's a bit disheartening news around United at the moment, but we're doing all right. We're doing okay.
Would you like the opportunity to vent, and then I might go to Amos for potentially the other side of it, but we don't know yet. He might be in Palace, but off you go.
I knew I was going to be asked about it, so I thought I need to go to the gym before this, get some off my chest, vent it out, get it all out. But it's just so disappointing. I'm angry. Frustrated. It's why would you even entertain that idea? It's the biggest sign of betrayal going to your rivals. I don't care how many years ago it was. I see him smiling there because I'm going to sound like a typical United fan. And he's going to love it. It's going to ruin it in my face. But it's just disgusting. It proves to me there's no loyalty in football. Only loyalty for me is with the fans. The fans are the only people that have the loyalty. And I think regardless, he's what makes it worse for me is the fact that he's always flirted with United. He's always said, we might come back, and then he's ended up signing a new contract with Real Madrid, or he's always used us for that aspect. And I think now this rumours of City just pushed it over the line for a lot of United fans. I think regardless of if he moves on or not, I think his legacy is finished with United. I think even if he goes to PSG, because I know there was rumours coming out before we've just gone on air as well that George Mendes has landed in Paris, but I think it's ruined for a lot of United fans. There were a lot of United fans teetering whether he's been disrespectful with the flirting with United and trying to sign new contracts, and I think now even the rumours with City, a bit like Rooney, but Rooney had never flirted with other clubs. It's massively tarnished, and if he does go to City, I mean, you roll on Derby Day. It's left me with a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth about this window because there was a lot of optimism around United when they signed Sancho and they signed Varane, and now the game at Southampton, you saw the evident need for a CDM, that they're crying out for it. And then, like Gary Neville was saying, why aren't they going in for Harry Kane? We're going to need a striker in the next 12 months. Cavani's going to go. Martial's going to go in the next 12 months. So why not bring one in now and give Ollie the chance of pushing on? But it always seems to be the bare minimum with United, and it always has been. It always has been with the owners we've got. And again, with that City moving to... Ronaldo moving to City, it tarnishes this window slightly for me, I think.
Yeah. Amos, for you, obviously the whole Harry Kane situation has blown over now for Manchester City. He's confirmed he's staying at Tottenham. Is this an ideal signing for Manchester City, even if it is 30 million? Because not only are you getting a world-class player to take you forward in the Champions League, you're going to rub your rivals' noses in it as well.
Yeah. If I was a United fan, sorry.
If I was just saying sorry to Kai. I was just apologising for.
If I was a United fan, which thankfully I'm not, I've got my dad to thank for that, and I will send him many thank yous for that. I don't know how, and I know Kai's just vented, and he's clearly angry with this, but I don't know in terms of a footballing move how frustrated I actually would be. By Real Madrid, United got the best out of Ronaldo by far. They gave him the platform, they gave him the pedestal to go and establish himself on the European stage. Realistically, in a 2-year contract, what would Ronaldo be able to do at City that he at United? He's won Premier Leagues, he's won Champions Leagues. What would he be able to do at City that he hasn't done at Real Madrid? He's won La Ligas, he's won Champions Leagues as well. Obviously, it's a stopgap in terms of a football signing for City. A need for goals is evident, but in terms of the actual move itself, it's probably going to benefit Ronaldo more than City because it'll take a massive restructuring of the wage setup. And I'm not quite sure City have worked into a position where they've got a squad full of superstars, which despite, the talk that City spend gazillions each window, when you look at the past transfer signings, they've probably been between about the 25 million and about the 60 million mark. There hasn't been a marquee £150 million signing until obviously Grealish came in. So City financially have had to build themselves around being sustainable, working within the FFP boundaries, but also successful at the same time. Ronaldo is a gamble, in my opinion. He's 36 years old. He's gonna have a 2-year contract. Whether or not a fee is paid to Juventus before that is yet to be seen. But even if it isn't, the wages are going to be massive to stump up.
Absolutely. Well, either way, we know Cristiano Ronaldo will be playing in the Champions League next season. He's certainly flirting with enough teams to be in it. We've got a Besiktas fan watching us on YouTube, Camberg. I think I've got that right. He says Besiktas, obviously. And then we've got Jack asking us when is the draw. Jack, basically, you know how UEFA work. They are going on and on and on. To be fair, it is quite a nice story. They are giving the medical team that helped Christian Eriksen, basically saved Christian Eriksen's life. They are awarding them with, it looks like they've all got a little mini medal each at the moment. Alexander Seferin's up there in the middle, and obviously the two hosts. They are handing out awards. So we are just waiting for UEFA to kickstart the draw. But while we do, we'll talk through some of the teams in the Champions League. And obviously, Chelsea, defending champions. Kai, last season was a bit up and down for Chelsea. They sacked Frank Lampard. They made a load of signings at the start of the season. They brought in Thomas Tuchel, who, of course, was beaten in the final the season before with Paris Saint-Germain. And they go on to win the Champions League. What was their story like last season, and do you think they were deserved winners in the end?
Yeah, I do. I always think there were slight underdogs going into it. I think if you look at them in the quarters, you still had, they start to face Real Madrid, still had some tough teams in front of them. And I think a lot of people wrote them off and didn't really think they could go on and win it. And I think the fact that they did is a massive credit to Thomas Tuchel. You look at where they were when Lampard left early on in the season to where he took over. They were deserved winners. They played better than City in the final. They were a better team, I think, personally. I think City set up wrong, though. I do think that Guardiola should have played that holding midfield. I don't know why he didn't. It was very bizarre. But yeah, I think Chelsea were deserving winners. I can't really think of many teams that stood out in Europe last season. A lot of people were behind PSG with them, with them being the last year's finals and the signings they've had. But yeah, I think Chelsea again. I think Chelsea could make a massive statement for the league this year with the signing of Lukaku as well.
Yeah, potentially. We spoke about him in the midweek podcast, and I think the week before as well. If you did miss any of that, head over to one of the local TV Facebook pages and catch up on the Box to Box podcast. Amos, obviously you were on the other side of Chelsea's victory as a Manchester City fan. What was that experience like for you, and how can City take that into this campaign?
May 29th, I think I'm right in saying, was the Champions League final. And I know Kai said that City were the favourites going into it, and the bookies suggested that as well. But in terms of actual City supporting fan, I was never less confident about a game ever. Just going off that season itself, we'd won 9 out of the 10 Champions League games previous to that. The one we hadn't managed to win was at the Estadio Dragão in Porto. So there was an omen already. And I just felt like any team going into their first Champions League final, usually in recent terms anyway, doesn't come out successful from that first Champions League final. It's a huge occasion. It's a big event. You've got to know what to do on the day. It's played on a Saturday. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff. It's a long day preparation, lots of pressure, and the pressure was on City. Like I said, City went into it as favourites, and like has been mentioned already, Chelsea sort of stumbled across that final in a way. I don't think anyone at the start of the season would have backed them to go as far as they did, and once they got out the group stage in harm-free fashion, it was really good momentum for them that took them over the line.
Yeah, certainly. And I think, as you say, the City have now had the experience of going into a Champions League final, and that can only help them going forward. Kai, would you be in agreement that Paris Saint-Germain are probably the favourites to win this? I mean, I know we kind of say most years that they are anyway, but this year when they've signed Messi, if they manage to keep Mbappe, are they clear favourites for this?
Yeah, they should be. They should be with the signing of a world class player. Well, probably one of the world's best ever, Messi. You should be favourites. The only thing for me that could tarnish PSG is having the three egos. You've got Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi all in that team. And Mbappe doesn't really want to be there. There's rumours that he's not going to sign a new deal. He's only got a year left on his deal. That's the only thing for me that perhaps could hinder PSG. But they've got an excellent manager in Pochettino. Although he's known for being not really winning stuff, not really winning trophies. He was a Spurs manager and never won anything with Spurs and bottled the Champions League final with Spurs against Liverpool. But I mean, with that squad, I think, to be honest with you, I probably could manage it to a Champions League final and potentially win one. It's especially with the signs they've made and the business they've done this summer. They've not only got Messi, they've brought in Wijnaldum, they've brought in Hakimi from Inter, they've brought in Donnarumma when perhaps, maybe you would argue they don't need Donnarumma when they've got a good keeper in Keylor Navas. But the squad depth they've got is unmatched. I think, regardless of if Ronaldo goes to City or where Ronaldo goes, I think, PSG have still got to be favourites.
Yeah, hard to look past them. Amos, let's dive into some of the groups then. We'll start with pot 1. We'll put it up on the screen so you can see, obviously, in there, the Champions League winners, Chelsea, Europa League winners, Villarreal, German champions, Bayern Munich, English champions, Manchester City, Spanish champions, Atletico Madrid, Italian champions, Inter Milan, Sporting Lisbon and Lille. You get the point. I'm not going to go through and say what nations champions they are every time. The way the Champions League works now, Amos, it's not as strong as it used to be. Pot 1, is it? There's not as high. I mean, there's obviously some fantastic teams still in there, but if you look at it based on previous years, it's not as strong, is it?
No, not at all. And it's easy to look at that and say, well, a couple of leagues across Europe had surprise winners last year, and that would be a fair assessment. But I've also sort of taken a different view, and I've seen it in a sense that it sort of demonstrates the shift of European football over the last couple of years. Now, we've seen this in the already this year, but Barcelona have been on the verge of bankruptcy, we've found out, and Real Madrid are another team who are financially are quite unstable. Just looking at that pot 1, my trusty Wikipedia page tells me that there's 11 Champions League wins between the teams in there, and over half of them are Bayern Munich's with 6. If we compare that to pot 2, which we'll come on to in a minute, I make that 30 Champions League titles between the teams in pot 2. So it shows you the pedigree of Europe is in pot 2. But in terms of where the actual class is at the moment, there's some good teams in there. Don't write off Sporting Lisbon. They're fantastic players. Lille have been ramshacked a bit, and they've started the league on season a bit shakily, but there'll be players there who can threaten. And equally, you've still got big guns like Atletico Madrid, obviously Chelsea and City, and then Bayern Munich.
Yeah, as you say, although it doesn't look as strong as it previously did, there's certainly some fantastic teams in there. Kai Amos mentions there about pot 2 and the strength of pot 2. Let's take a look at that now. Some massive names in there: Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool, Sevilla, Borussia Dortmund. That's just an unbelievable wealth of talent in there, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, without doubt. Yeah, I mean, you only have to look at those teams to see the experience, not only like the class, but the experience in those teams. Real Madrid been to countless finals, won it countless times. Same with Barcelona. We've been unfortunate to face probably one of the best Barcelona sides ever in Champions League finals over the course of about 3 years in the early 2010s. But there's some wealth of talent in there, and I think for as a United fan, I'm glad I'm in that pot and not in pot 1, because you can avoid your Chelsea and City in pot 1 due to the domestic league, but then also going into pot 2, you can't get a Real Madrid or Barcelona in a group stage, which is ideal. Really, it's the ideal situation. All right, okay, you can get Bayern and Atletico, but there's less of a chance of pulling out one of the big guns in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. You as a Liverpool fan, I feel a lot more comfortable in pot 2. Looking at some of the other teams in that pot that we've now avoided, I feel quite comfortable and quite content with that. As you say, still a lot of really good teams in and around, pot 1 and 2, and obviously in pot 3, which is what we'll look at next. Some classic teams in there as well. Porto, Ajax. You've also got Shakhtar Donetsk and Zenit St. Petersburg, the dreaded trips to the Eastern European nation. RB Leipzig and RB Salzburg, Benfica and Atalanta, all teams that are, maybe now Amos are established Champions League sides.
Yeah.
You know, the likes of Leipzig and Atalanta, certainly in and around there pretty much every year, as are Porto and Ajax nowadays. As a City fan, which team are you hoping to firstly avoid out of this pot?
Yes, it's interesting. You mentioned the established group of teams in pot three. Something I noted as well, where usually in draws of previous years, you'd have maybe one or two of the names we're seeing here, but you'd also have quite a few unknown entities in pot three. Whereas now, over the last couple of seasons, it seems to be the likes of Atalanta, the likes of RB Salzburg, really establishing them as league regulars. Now, I know Atalanta have made the the knockout phase on a couple of occasions, but these aren't the sort of teams you look at and thinking, well, you can go and challenge the teams from pot one and pot two. In terms of wanting to avoid, because there's definitely some headaches there, I would take absolutely anybody bar Shakhtar Donetsk, and that's not anything on a footballing point of view. It's purely in the sense that City faced them, or City have faced them 3 of the last 4 seasons in the group stage. So if there's anything we can do, if there's anyone we can bribe to make sure that doesn't happen this season, I'm gonna get onto them as soon as we can. But in terms of the other names, obviously Atalanta, dangerous team, very dangerous teams. They've managed to keep hold of a couple of good players who link with moves away, and obviously Benfica. Now they've gone off the rails a little bit in the Portuguese league, yet they're still a dangerous team with dangerous players.
Yeah, they are. They've certainly grown into it a lot as well, haven't they, over the past few years. In a similar sense to how we said City have got the sort of monkey off the back and getting to the Champions League final, they've certainly had a few campaigns in the Champions League now, and I'll be a little bit more comfortable than they were when they first came in. Kai, let's wrap it up with pot 4. Again, there's some good teams in there. AC Milan, one of the, historically anyway, one of the best teams in European football. You've got Wolfsburg making a return, another trip to how far in the east with Dynamo Kiev. Besiktas are a good side. What do you make of this pot?
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying before we came on air, me and David, that there's not many teams that you would want in this Champions League. There's a lot of talent even in pot 3 and pot 4 now. It shows the standard of European football is increasing, which is fantastic for a neutral. But as a United fan, looking down at the different pots, it's not great. But I mean, for me, the team that you'd probably want to avoid in there, like you say, it's AC Milan. We faced them in the Euros last year. Sorry, I forgot. I just completely forgot the name of the Europa League there. Completely slipped my mind what the name of the Europa League was. We faced AC Milan last season in the Europa League, and they were tough to break down. The team that is the type of team that United just don't want to face. Teams that sit back against us. We've been proven over the last few years we just can't break down. Like Southampton at the weekend, couldn't break them down. Ended up drawing to them. A team like that you probably wouldn't want. Maybe someone who less experienced, you would want someone like the Moldovan team, Sheriff. Is it Tiraspol? Tiraspol? I never know how to pronounce that second.
Tiraspol.
Tiraspol, yeah.
Go with it.
But yeah, so probably the type of team that you would want in the group. I think everyone's looking at them and thinking, yeah, we probably wouldn't mind them in the groups.
Yeah, Amos, let's talk a little bit about them. Obviously, they knocked out Dynamo Zagreb in the qualifiers.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit sort of sly to be saying this, but are they going to be the weapon boys of this group? If you get them, you're guaranteed 6 points, 12 goals.
We thought that about Istanbul. We thought that about Istanbul last year, and look at that.
Yeah,
not a bad
well, it's a great point, isn't it? These teams that pop up and you're not really sure what to expect from them, they can often cause. In terms of Sheriff Tiraspol, I think is what we're going with. First Moldovan side, obviously, to feature in the Champions League group stages. Yet I saw a couple of threads on Twitter last night saying that even though they come under Moldova for the UEFA coefficient or whatever, they're actually from an autonomous region in Moldova with an autonomous government. They have their own government, and they were a side that was only founded 24 years ago. Once again, Wikipedia tells me. So, they're a really, really unknown entity, probably as unknown as you can like. They've had to go through a number of qualifiers to even get to the point where they're able to be one game away. They won the first one 3-0, and then they did the job in the second one 0-0. So you'd want them if City pull them out in a couple of minutes, then I'm going to be over the moon. But come match day, I wouldn't be surprised if they snuck a cheeky 1-1 or a 1-0 win.
I think we need to change your Twitter handle to @Wiki Amos Smith.
Yeah. I know. Giving them far too many. Giving them far too many shout outs here.
Can't be Wikipedia. Do you work for Wikipedia as well, or just?
Well, that must be it. Yeah, getting them the free shout
that's
out.
It, mate. Sponsorship deals, trying to sneak it in.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking like we're getting close to some sort of draw. The little grey-haired fella with the glasses, who I don't know knows whose name he is. They just know he comes out when the draw's on. He's out.
They whip him out the cupboard.
They just polish him away and throw him back. Yeah, that's it.
Like your mum's good plates that only come out for Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's exactly it, mate.
Exactly
he gets a little bit more action than Christmas Day plates, obviously, because of 3 or 4 draws or whatever it is a year. But we're looking like we are almost about to get ready. I'll just ask both of you for, first of all, what group you would like. If there's 3 teams that you would like to get, I'll have a look at mine first to give you a bit of time. They've actually got the pots on stage now, and I think looking at pot 1 as a Liverpool fan, maybe Lille or Sporting Lisbon potentially is a good one. Inter Milan could potentially be another one. I know that they're decent, but they've lost Lukaku, they've lost Hakimi.
Potentially Martinez as well.
Is Conte left? Have I got that right?
Inzaghi's in charge.
Yeah, I thought he got off.
Yeah,
they could be another decent side to draw. Pot 3, I love Porto. We went to Porto a few years ago. It's fantastic. Ajax would be a good trip as well, to be fair. But from a purely footballing point of view, I'd probably say Salzburg. I'd like Salzburg just because we've beat them before. We know what to expect. Pot 4, I mean, give me Club Brugge. I think we can put a few past Simon Mignolet, and we'll be all right. Kai, I'll come to you first. You give me your ideal group for Manchester United.
I think probably the best possible outcome, like you say, will be Lille or Lisbon in that pot 1. I think, all right, don't underestimate Lisbon, but I think you look at that pot and they're probably the weakest team in there. Although they did move up the coefficient, didn't they? The Portuguese league now it is now above the French league in terms of rankings. So who knows? Like you say as well, Lille, the manager went. I always thought that was a bizarre move as well. How the Lille manager moved to Nice, but that's a different story. But the Lille have lost a few. They've been picked off. So maybe potentially Lille, they haven't started great in League One this season. They've had quite a few defeats and I think a few high scoring draws as well. And then probably from pot 3, you'd want someone. Maybe to be honest, as a United fan, I'd probably want Shakhtar. I think Shakhtar would probably be a nice one to up against. Although it's a lot of travelling, that's the only downside to it. And then in terms of the final pot, you're going to be looking at, like you say, like Club Brugge, we've beaten them before, or maybe even like Sheriff. I know they're going to be up for it with it being the first Champions League draw. And we did say this about Istanbul last season, but you never know. But it's one of those games that you should be beating if you're coming up against the Sheriff. It should be a guaranteed 6 points.
You'd like to think so, certainly for the 3 of our teams. Amos, go on then, have a crack, see what you think.
Yeah, so obviously coming from pot 1, there's a different first opponent. I'm looking at it and I'm going to do him a little bit of a disservice, but I'll probably say Sevilla from pot 2. However, I also caveat that by saying Barcelona are an absolute shadow of themselves. However, they obviously have the name Barcelona, so who knows what could happen on a match night. So yes, Sevilla or Barcelona would be ideal. I'm looking at PSG there, and I just want every single magnet in the world to repel City's ball away from them. But I can only see it as an inevitability at this point. Moving on to pot 3, another inevitability. I see Shakhtar, who didn't qualify last season, and we escaped them. Then they haunted us before, and I can see them coming back. Obviously, City have got a fantastic record against Shakhtar. I think it's 4 wins from 6, 1 draw, 1 defeat. So it would most likely end up being a hefty points haul if City were to play them. Yet it's just there's nothing I hate more than constantly drawing the same team over and over again. I'd probably say Zenit would be the nice one from there. Russian champion. Champions League, so that'd be a nice one, I suppose. And then moving on to pot 4. Again, AC Milan are the one people want to avoid, but other than that, I'd be confident with any of the sides in there, and the ties would be interesting enough. I'd be happy with any.
Well, we are going to find out momentarily what the groups are going to be. They are just going through all of the teams that are in pot 1 at the moment, showing a video of all the teams in Champions League action. So we are about to find out. In a little nice touch as well, they've brought Michael Essien and Branislav Ivanovic out. Obviously, Chelsea, European champions. They've brought a couple of ex-players out, which is quite a nice touch. While we wait then, Kai, I meant to ask you this a little bit earlier on, now that you've seen the pots. We've got to talk about Manchester United losing the Europa League final last season, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately for me, because I quite enjoyed it. But now that you've sort of seen the pots and you've seen that you're in pot 2 and not pot 1, is that kind of a blessing in disguise for Manchester United?
It is in terms of the draw, but I think in terms of actually where United need to be and where United want to be, I'm not so sure. I think if we'd have ended up coming out of there, there'd have been a more positive feel around the club. With trophy to Ollie's name, there's that stigma gone. But yeah, I mean, it's benefited us in this Champions League draw, but don't get me wrong, I mean, I would have probably liked to have won that. It was the way we lost it as well. You bring up all the bad memories now, David, asking that question. Yeah, it's the way we lost it. It's the way in which we lost it. It wasn't. If you'd have lost it in 90 minutes, fair enough. But it's the fact we lost it on penalties.
Well, yeah, we'll obviously see how it ends up and if it works out as better or not for you. We'll see. But Manchester City are the first team out of the draw, and they're in Group A. Amos, it's very hard to ask a question on whether you feel happy or not about being in Group A, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Yeah,
first team out the draw,
worries.
how are you feeling about that?
First team out the draw can only be going to go on and win the competition, I suppose. You've out the draw first. Last one in the competition come May. Yeah. We'll turn the lights out when we leave.
First one in, last one out, he says. Next team out, Sporting Lisbon. They'll go into Group B. I think it
was Atletico before, wasn't it? Atletico went into B, didn't they? I think.
Did they go into B, did they? So I missed that one.
Yeah.
Atletico have gone into B. Very, very, very funny comment here from Tom on YouTube. Which group are Arsenal? They're in the Carabao Cup second round. The teams that don't qualify for Europe.
That's mental, isn't it? I couldn't believe that when they had to play in that against West Brom.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Brilliant. Well, to be fair, it went quite well for them, didn't it? So
Confidence in it.
Inter Milan
Arsenal jokes on board for now.
B. Yeah. Inter Milan into Group B. So we had Atletico into Group C, Sporting Lisbon into Group. Atletico into Group B, Sporting Lisbon into Group C, Inter Milan into Group D. Bayern Munich are necked out. They are into Group E. They are actually starting to get some movements out of UEFA, which is nice. It's one of those dreaded things, isn't it, Kai? When you're watching any Champions League draw.
It's even more painful when you do it in Europa League. It's even more painful when you're having to watch all these teams from God knows where and watching out clips of them scoring in Europa League. It's a painful experience. I'm glad we're in this one now.
Yeah. So I know it doesn't actually work like this, but Villarreal have been drawn. So let's just be hypothetical and say that Manchester United would have been drawn into Group F.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy with that.
Let's just see how
I'd be happy with Villarreal, I think.
Yeah. There's two teams left then. Go on, mate.
Just because the pressure's not on in the final, I think United will be all right against Villarreal in the groups.
Yeah, agreed.
Lille are the next team out. They will go into Group G. So by my calculations, champions Chelsea will go into Group H.
Yes, they've just been drawn out. Yeah,
very, very good at all this. Finding out team out and all that. Got my crosswords today.
So now we've got to watch the clips for all the pot too, which is fantastic.
Well, this is it, isn't it? Yeah, we're praising them for sort of getting a little bit of a move on, and now we're going to have to wait quite a long time for for Group B. Sorry, for pot 2 even. So let's just go through once again and see who's been drawn out of pot 1. We'll stick them out in front of you. Manchester City are into Group A. Let's go into Group B. Sporting Lisbon into C. Inter Milan into D. Bayern Munich into E. Villarreal into F. Lille went into G. And H for Chelsea. So that's pot 1 done and dusted. Up next is pot 2. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool, Sevilla, and Borussia Dortmund. They are all to come. Amos, it must be pretty nice for you to now sort of sit back and know what group you're in and just wait for other teams to join you. For me and Kai, we've got to kind of just carry on, wait for us to be drawn out of the hat first and foremost. Do you think, I don't know whether it's the same for you lads, but I know as a Liverpool fan, the airports in Liverpool and Manchester will be getting flights booked up pretty quick as soon as you fight, especially if you get Ajax. Do you think it'll be the same this year though, Amos? Do you think people are still gonna be booking out flights and the whole quarantine situation? Do you think that's going to impact it at all?
It'd be interesting to see because I've seen mixed reports on whether or not away fans will be allowed. Obviously, you're still going to have, say, for example, City get Ajax. You're still going to have that sort of coup go out to Amsterdam for a day out, even if you can't get in the stadium. I know so not away fans are allowed or not would sort of dictate that. You'd reckon football fans are. We've seen that with the crowds coming back in the Premier League, and at first I thought there may be some empty seats, there may be some spotted areas around here and there. No Etihad jokes, please. But we've seen that with crowds coming back in this country. It's been full attendances near enough every single week. So you reckon football fans now are at a situation where they've waited long enough, and say a decent draw comes up in Europe, or they're not going to wait.
Yeah, sorry, mate. We just lost you a little bit at the end there, so I wasn't quite sure.
It's all right.
Finished. Apologies. Thank you to everyone who's watching, by the way, online on both Facebook and YouTube. You can watch the Box to Box podcast every week usually on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night on local TV on Facebook and YouTube, whether it's Liverpool TV, Tyne and Wear, Birmingham, Manchester. You can also catch up with all the individual teams we cover. We cover Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Leeds, Birmingham, Aston Villa, West Brom. Oh, do we have to? The only time Everton will ever be mentioned on a Champions League draw ever. Let's just get it out there.
Yeah.
So we are, well, as I say, we are just going through the pots for pot 2, the teams in pot 2, I should say. Another one of these fancy videos from UEFA. We'll just run through it again in case you've just joined us and you missed who is in pot 2. The teams in pot 1 have already been drawn there on the little ticket at the bottom. These are the teams that are about to be drawn. So you've got Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain, the mighty Liverpool FC, Sevilla, and Borussia Dortmund. They are all to come out of this pot. Kai, out of the teams that have already been drawn, as a Manchester United fan, which group are you hoping to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side drawn into?
I'm hoping we end up in C or G or F. Either of them. I think with Villarreal, Lille, or Lisbon, I think it'd be quite poetic to get Villarreal and knock them out, which would be quite nice. Especially after what happened. I've just seen here now. Dortmund have just been the first one out, I think. So we don't know what group they're in. I think they draw them out and then draw the group.
Yeah.
I think that's how they do it. They do it slightly differently. They just draw a group. Yeah, but I think for me, you want in either of those. I think Lisbon. United have taken a few players off them in the past. One notably that might be going to our rivals. But yes, we've also they've had Bruno used to play for them, Marcus Rojo. United have taken a few players in the past off Lisbon, and they've got that good relationship with them, and it's always a nice place to go. But Dortmund end up in Group C there.
With Sporting.
Right.
Nice.
That's how you feel about avoiding Dortmund.
Yeah.
the probably looking at that pot two, I had them down as the second strongest team behind PSG. Discounting Real Madrid and Barcelona having a bit shakily, so avoiding Dortmund's a really good move, I think. Obviously beat them in the quarterfinals, but only just. So it's nice to get one of the bigger ones out of the way as we see Real Madrid pulled out as the second team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So up for Group A.
See where they end up. Obviously, if it does, it's a repeat of the semi-final a few years ago, Amos. If they Group A, how would you feel about that?
Well, we played them more recently than that. Beat them in the round of 16 last season, So
it's revenge for them now. You've had your revenge.
Recent history suggests the hand, but it's Real Madrid in the Champions League, and there's no one you want to avoid more, I don't think.
Exactly.
It's a minefield, this pot, isn't it? It's an absolute minefield.
You've avoided them anyway. You've gone in with Inter Milan.
Yeah.
So they've gone in with Inter Milan. So that's
you just know United are going to get Bayern Munich.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Just say it.
Here's another one for us. Johnny's been in touch. Have the leads been drawn yet?
It's been drawn yet.
I don't think they've got a European competition for teams that bad. But maybe in a few years.
Not allowed on table. Maybe
it's
Conference League next season. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to bring out like a national conference, something even worse.
Can you imagine? Yeah.
North or the South or an East and a West European conference.
Here we go, David. Here we go.
Have we got Liverpool out?
Liverpool out, yeah.
Here we go. I don't know who I want.
What's left? Villarreal, Lille, Atletico. Good friends, Atletico.
Do you know what? I'd take Atletico.
Really?
We owe them one. Yeah, we owe them one big time.
Mm.
Oh, that's probably the best case scenario for us, for me and Amos, in it, Atletico. I think probably.
Oh, we've got Atletico Madrid as well. We've been thrown in with Atletico Madrid.
Good.
I like it.
Good.
I like it.
Good.
We owe them one. Let's have it. That'll be
a good game. I think that'll be a good game to watch. It'll be a very good game to watch.
Well, it'll be a good game in the sense that Liverpool will have a go and Simeone will sit back and just hope for the best on the counter-attack. Just exactly what he done to us last time.
It'll be a good game until about 2 minutes in.
Yeah, that was the one thing I really
you'll go
with
a bit of a roadblock against like a Ferrari. So it's just, let's see who wins that battle.
Well, that was the one team I didn't want with Atletico. Just because Atletico just sit back and United just are terrible against teams like that. There's one team that I just didn't want, so
we're a little bit like that as well, mate, to be honest. We are a little bit like that. Oh, hello. Group A, I've just seen that Manchester City been drawn.
Yes.
Amos, what are you thinking?
Get in.
Well, obviously did the number on them both legs of the Champions League semi-final last season. It's a different Paris Saint-Germain outfit, but history will tell you from our 2 meetings in the competition so far back in 2016 as well. City have had the upper hand, so bring it on. He says.
Could potentially be Ronaldo against Messi again. It could potentially be Ronaldo and Messi against
DMA.
Someone's already put on Twitter it's Abu Dhabi against Qatar in the Champions League.
Yeah, there we go.
I hope these get Bayern because that gets that out of the way. Because that leaves us with either Lille or Villarreal, which I'll be happy with. More than happy with.
Where have Juventus gone?
Group H. So which is that?
Chelsea. Yeah.
Chelsea and Juventus. Interesting, that one. That's keeping up to be quite a difficult
have enough
draw.
for Juventus.
The team pot one are going to end up with tough draws because that pot two is full of strong teams.
Yeah, it is.
It's almost like it's been flipped around, hasn't it? You're looking at pot two almost as if it should have been pot one, and the teams coming out now are who should have been drawn first.
Barca.
Yeah, absolutely. Barca out next. So we'll wait and see who Barcelona are drawn with.
Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich.
Guys, just desperate to avoid them.
I have. Just don't mind. As long as you get Villarreal or Lille, I'll be happy. We'll be aware of it. We'll qualify.
I think it's written in the stars Villarreal, to be honest. I think it's written in the stars, I do.
Yeah, it is.
We'll see. Bayern Munich are in Barcelona's group.
Yeah. Good. That's happy. I'm all happy with
Barcelona in Bayern Munich group. So that's into Group E. So
that'll
PSG
be a good game
into
as well.
Group A with Manchester City, Liverpool into Group B with Atletico Madrid, Barcelona drawn with Bayern Munich in Group E. and Juventus into Group H with Chelsea. Have I missed someone off there?
I think so. There's 2 left.
Real have got Sevilla in their group. Group G.
That means we've got Villarreal. We've got Villarreal and written stars. Yeah, we'll be. We're the last ones out. Yeah, we'll be, won't it?
Who went into Sporting's group? I think I've missed them off. Is it Dortmund?
Dortmund. First one.
Yeah.
Okay. And then who did Inter Milan get? I've missed them out as well.
Inter got... Oh, I don't know, actually. Who did they get?
Let's see.
Inter... Pulled Real, repeat of last year.
Real, yes, of course, yeah.
Good.
Written in the stars. That wanted to get Villarreal, I think. Just knew it was going to happen.
We've got the current groups running across the bottom of the screen. Man City and PSG in Group A. Atletico Madrid and Liverpool in Group B. I've missed out Sporting's group. I can't remember who they've got. Oh, they got Dortmund, sorry, yeah. Sporting, Lisbon and Dortmund. Inter Milan, Real Madrid in Group D. Bayern Munich and Barcelona in Group E. Group F is Villarreal, and it's going to be Manchester United. I think it's now being drawn.
It is, yeah.
Lille, Sevilla in Group G, Chelsea and Juventus in Group H. Kyle, start with you first. We said it was, we thought it, we teased it. I swear we don't know the actual draw by heart, as you can tell by me asking who's got what. But now that you know who Manchester United are going to face, how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think there weren't the team that you wanted, but there were a team that I think will be okay against. I think they were in the same bracket with Inter Milan. Given that it's not a final, there's not pressure on Ole, there's not pressure on United. I think, touch wood, they should be okay. Don't get me wrong, Unai Emery's a great manager, and he knows how to set up well against United, and it worked in the Europa League final. But I think United, with the signings they've got with Varane, in that final they evidently missed Maguire. Massively missed Maguire in that centre-back partnership, and now they've got Varane in and having Maguire coming in as well. I think they should be all right in that department. And then they've also got that natural right winger as well, which is massive. We've still got Cavani to come back, we haven't seen this season yet. I think we should be okay against Villarreal. It'll be tough. It'll be very tough because they're a very sturdy side, but no, I think we should be all right.
Yeah, It's always nice the way these draws always pit teams up against each other. I mean, for me, as I say, Atletico Madrid knocked us out the Champions League just before coronavirus. So that's a nice way of sort of, getting a bit of revenge maybe and seeing what's what.
How do you think you'll do against them, David?
Go on.
How do you think you'll do against them, Atletico?
As I say, mate, they're going to want to sit back and hit us on the counter-attack. We're going to try and press and win the ball high in counter-attack. I think we might beat them at Anfield, especially if we play them at Anfield early or in the first of the 2 games we have to play them. I think we'll beat them. Madrid might be a different matter. They might be but then I don't know, the way their style is and they try and sit back, are they going to be allowed to sit back in the home ground? The thing most teams to play defensively. They're a tough team to play against, and obviously we're going up again against Luis Suarez, who just absolutely loves playing football, doesn't care who he plays against. As you see when we knocked Barcelona out of the Champions League in the semi-final, he scored against us in the first leg, celebrated like mad. Liverpool fans were a bit annoyed about that. Personally, I didn't really care. Obviously, I cared we'd been, conceded a goal, but I just love the fact he just loves playing football that much, and it's gonna be great. I think he'll get a good reception at Anfield. I think last time was a bit different when he played at Anfield because it was very high drama, high emotions, trying to get to the Champions League final. So this time he might get a really good reception. I would like to see him taken off as a substitute in like the 86th minute, 87th minute. Ideally, I'd like to see him sent off injured within 2 minutes. That might not happen. So yeah, I think we'll do all right. We've got potential to end up in a group of death. I can see that. Getting a really good side. But, I mean, we'll see. Saying that, though, I mean, Amos, so if Manchester City potential for a group of death there, who are you planning on avoiding in pot 3 here, mate?
You win your domestic league and you get handed PSG in the group stage of the Champions League. I mean, where's the justice? Who would we want to avoid? Well, I'm looking at RB Leipzig. I think they're they're a bit of a fraudulent team in pot three. They could easily be put higher up. I'd look to avoid them. I'd look to avoid Benfica, and I'd look to avoid Porto. Other than that, I think City will probably be happy with any of the other ones that come out.
Yeah,
Shakhtar's
potentially.
been drawn out.
Oh,
Been
no.
drawn, so that's straight into Manchester City's group, more than likely.
Please, no.
I'm going to say, if there's one team that you could bet we can get Man City, I'd put my house on it being Shakhtar.
I know.
Every single
I know.
year. Do you know what is poetry as well? If United get RB Leipzig in here, because of the team that knocked us out of the Champions League last year, it'd be very poetry United to get RB Leipzig, I think, in this.
Yeah. Let's see.
Who was Shakhtar with?
They've been drawn into the group with Inter Milan and Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk.
Okay.
So that is group D, as far as I can see.
Yes.
D. So let's update this as we wait for the next team to come out. I don't know whether I'm going to run out of space to put all these team names in, to be honest. We're only on group D. Oh no, we should be all right. We should be fine. So I'm just trying to see if we're still waiting. I think N'Golo Kante was awarded best midfielder there during the break by FIFA.
Was he?
Yeah.
So he's had a cracking season, hasn't he? You know, there's been a lot of talks of him beating Ballon d'Or as well, and I think they're deserved. I think he's had a cracking season.
Yeah,
he's had a great season.
Apparently, that was that the group last season? Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yes,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, good spot. No Mönchengladbach now, though.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. Last year, when we done the Champions League, it was a purely Liverpool-based one, and I said I wanted to avoid both Borussia Mönchengladbach and Borussia Dortmund in the group, which is impossible because you can't draw two German teams. I had egg on my face. Group A has got a team full of Bs with Benfica joining Bayern and Barcelona.
Wow.
On that one.
That's a good group so far.
Yeah.
A tough group to get out of. Definitely.
Decent group, that. I think Benfica will be looking at Barca in there and thinking, definitely at home, we can get something. That even away from home, it'll be interesting to see how the season, whether or not they can build off losing Messi, or if it's going to be a car crash like many are expecting it to be.
Potentially.
Would it
be nice if they were drawn into Group B for Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and Benfica.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, it's just missing that, isn't it?
I like uniformity, but we'll see.
We're looking at Besiktas for pot 4 or Brugge to carry that on.
That would be nice. But you know what? It's not in Group B. It let it down a little bit for me, but I'll take it.
Oh, yeah, that would have been nice, actually, if it was in Group B, wouldn't it?
I'll take it. Okay, Zenit St. Petersburg are next out. They've been drawn into Group H along with Chelsea and Juventus.
Also a very tough group. You don't want to travel to Zenit either, I don't think.
No, exactly. No. Obviously, the Juventus game is difficult. And a trip to Zenit, as you say, to Russia is a tough one. So we'll see. We'll see how they get on with that one. The reigning European champions. As we wait for the rest of the teams to come out.
Leipzig. RB Leipzig. So what they can end up in A, G, B, or F, can't they? I think because you can't end up with Dortmund because it's with German teams. Yeah. See, it's written in the stars for it to be us, Group F.
Let's see. They've gone into Group A.
Oh,
so Amos got RB Leipzig in that group, who will probably be absolutely devastated to draw themselves in that group. But as a Manchester City fan, how are you feeling about that?
Well, it'll be the first meeting between the two sides in competitive football ever. Obviously, they finished ahead of United last season. We were cheering them on in that last game in Leipzig, but they're trying to establish themselves as Germany's second club, and the only way to do that is build themselves on a European stage to attract players. They'll fancy themselves in this, I reckon. The expectations are off straight away, being against City and PSG. They've got punt, and hopefully it's against the latter than the former.
But it's the same draw as last season, isn't it? United got PSG and Leipzig as well in their group, so
yeah.
same format.
True. Very true. Yeah.
You don't. I don't want these. I absolutely do not want Atalanta.
Who's out now?
Atalanta. Do not want these.
Here we go.
Let's see what group.
You've got them, Kai.
I knew it. You could see it coming.
Atalanta.
Tough. That'd be tough. You can see them knocking us out in last day like Leipzig did and sending us into Europa League. You can see it already.
Very optimistic opinions there.
You can see it already. You learn to live with this.
So just wait to see who Liverpool get now in the
Salzburg. Yeah, you'll get them. That'll be you, surely, won't it?
It does feel like history's repeating itself.
It does. I feel like I'm watching last year. Should we watching this year's draw, not last year's?
We got an easy draw last year. Like we didn't get an easy draw last year. It was who did we get last year? We got Atalanta, Ajax, Midtjylland. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it's bad. No time though. I mean, at least we're not Man City getting League One, League Two clubs all the way through a domestic cup.
There we go.
Salzburg have gone into Group G, by the way, with Lille and Sevilla.
I say, if you're looking at that group and you're thinking probably they've got it best at the moment. I think Lille, Sevilla, and Salzburg. I think to qualify.
That's the group of life.
Yeah, it is. It is.
The group of death. Yeah.
Just need AC Milan in that
Porto
group.
Group B, by the way, with Liverpool, which is. I wish I was going to that one because Porto is a fantastic place to go and watch a game of football. So let's go Liverpool and Porto in Group B. I'm relatively happy with that. I mean, we've been to Porto quite a few times in the past few years and always done really well in Portugal. Porto, anyway. So that to me stinks of 6 points. Absolutely reeks of 6 points to me. That.
Clip that. Make sure you clip that whoever's watching.
Clip that when it's 5-0 Porto at Anfield and we've got Nat Phillips back at centre half.
Ajax with Dortmund and Lisbon.
Nice looking group, that.
It is a nice looking group, actually. I was just thinking that.
One for the hipsters there.
Nice
it'd be good for the neutral that to watch, I think. If your team's not playing, it'll be produce some good football, I think that.
So I've got it down as just Group D left. Or have I missed that?
Shakhtar went in there.
Shakhtar, of course.
Shakhtar went in there.
Shakhtar Donetsk, of course. So we can swap that ticket over now and show you. Let me just actually get that a sec.
Looks like Haaland's won Striker of the Year in the Champions League, apparently. Forward of the Year. It's probably rightfully deserved.
Now that City didn't sign Kane, does that open the door to Haaland next season for Manchester City?
Yeah, that seems to be the sort of natural progression, doesn't it? But the problem there is that Haaland's suitors are a much longer list than Harry Kane's list of suitors. If we're to believe reports, there may be up to 6 clubs looking at Haaland next summer when his release clause comes into play. So whereas City were seemingly the only one after Chelsea went to Lukaku, City was seemingly the only one interested in Kane. Now we're looking at a case where we're probably going to have to get into a bidding war for a player who's got a release clause anyway. So, and again, you look at the agent who has had trouble with Pep Guardiola in the past, whether or not the news that he may be leaving at the end of next season helps him out a little bit. Who knows? We're not even finished this transfer window yet, and I wouldn't be surprised if Haaland was on the move before the end of this window anyway.
Potentially, but as you say, I just wonder if the whole Kane thing was a little bit of a, City obviously were very open about wanting him, but I think at the back of their mind they've gone, well, I think Haaland's probably a better deal anyway in terms of money and the whole link with his dad and things like that. It just makes sense.
Well, put it this way. For Harry Kane, he's not coming to City next season, is he? At 29, with however long would be on that contract. It was a one-time offer for Harry Kane, so it probably serves to benefit City more than Kane.
Yeah, definitely. I think the deal was very much like a Van Persie type deal at Manchester United a few years ago. And at that time, that sort of money was big. I know now the sort of money that City would have been paying was a lot bigger, but if we're being relative, that money was big at the time. And it just reminded me a lot of that. Obviously, you would have probably won you the league this year, maybe next year, but then after that, you don't know how long you're going to get out.
Yeah.
We are now moving on to pot 4, so let's just have another look at the pots. Some really tricky ties in here. Besiktas, obviously, if they've got fans in, I don't know what the situation is in Turkey, but they make some noise over there at that ground. Dynamo Kiev, quite a long trip away if you do draw them as one of the English sides. Club Brugge and Young Boys. AC Milan is probably the most glorious tie you can get out of this one. Malmo, Wolfsburg, and of course I feel like I'm being a bit disrespectful, but the Minnows and Sheriff. How do you pronounce it, Amos? Tiraspol.
Tiraspol, yeah.
That's what Wikipedia said anyway.
Yeah,
I didn't use Wikipedia for that. I just had to go on my own. So, I mean, I'll come to you first with this one, Amos. Who do you fancy out of this group then to round it off? Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, David. Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, Amos. I just asked you there. Who do you fancy to round?
Sorry, I
Who
was watching.
do you fancy to round this group off?
I was watching our grey-haired friend twiddle the balls around. I'm gonna go Sheriff. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go Sheriff. Yeah.
Okay.
Young Boys are out. Young Boys.
Interestingly, their first group stage appearance, which surprised me.
Is that what it is? Is that what you just said?
Yeah. I always knew they weren't, an established European name, but I've
always thought they'd been in there. I thought they'd been in there about.
So more of a Europa League regular.
Yeah.
I say they are a Europa League side. Young Boys
We'll
into Manchester United's group.
We'll take that.
How are you feeling about that?
Very happy about that. I think, with them being the first Champions League group stage, inexperienced, I think probably they'd be one of the teams that you wanted up there with Sheriff, I think. We're very happy with that. Very happy with that.
Absolutely. So that rounds off Manchester United's group.
Yep.
With Atalanta, who I have missed off the old piece.
Besiktas out next.
See where they end up. I wouldn't mind Besiktas.
It'll be tough though. They'll be Turkish champions, I think, aren't they?
Tough group,
yeah, definitely. It's bizarre to have a champions seeded in pot 4.
Pot 4, no. You think they'd at least be pot 2, 3, wouldn't you?
Yeah, pot 3 definitely.
Yeah. Let's see who they get. They have got.
Gone into the group with Sporting Lisbon, Dortmund, and Ajax.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
That'll be a good group, I think, actually. It's a very, very level group, I think. I think anyone could qualify from that.
Yeah.
You'd imagine Dortmund would be at top of it. Imagine Dortmund would probably top it.
Yeah.
Who comes third and second?
Some lovely destinations in that group.
Yeah, there is.
Won't be bad for an holiday.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, if you're a fan of them. Yeah. AC Milan. Oh,
dear me. Keep them away from Group A. Keep them away from Group A.
There's only 2 positions it can be in.
Oh dear.
Is it A or B? It can be in. Is it one of you two?
We've got AC Milan.
Yeah, so it's
AC Milan in our group.
Oh, final in Istanbul as well.
That is some group that.
That is a cracking group.
It's a cracking group.
That is a tough group. I think Porto probably going to finish bottom of that. I don't know. Actually, AC Milan, you just automatically think of as a good team, and they're probably not even that good anymore, really.
They're just
I still see us getting through. Yeah, I still see us getting through. If I'm honest. But I mean, you look at that and you think, of certainly, as I say, historically, traditionally, the best teams in Europe. If you look back at the Champions League since sort of like the early 2000s, that is some group. That is a tasty group
It's a
out there.
tasty group.
Yeah, I'd like to have a few trips away with that, but unfortunately, I can't see that happen with the whole quarantine system.
Yeah, going to say some nice destinations in that as well, isn't there? As well, Porto.
You've ticked all the boxes there. Spain, Portugal, and Italy. Can't ask for much more than that.
And the capital, the two of them as well.
Exactly.
Group G. Who was that going into Group G?
So I think Wolfsburg have gone into Group G.
Again, that's a really nice group.
Against Wolfsburg, all the Bergs. Into Group G.
A nice group as well. Watch poor Sheriff get Group A.
Oh, it's nailed on. It is nailed on.
Yeah.
Do you know what? If you were them, though, you'd probably want to get now, I'd say Group E. Like, just to go to Bayern Munich, to go to Barcelona, and to go to
Yeah.
Fantastic draws, isn't it, for them?
You know you're going to struggle, but it's still like you're going there with nothing to lose, dear.
Yeah.
These sort of clubs aren't qualifying for the Champions League expecting to win it, are they?
No.
You know, they're going to get the same money. They know they're not going to get through, so they might as well have some decent trip.
Yeah. Club Brugge have been drawn into Manchester City's group. So that rounds off Group A, Man City, Paris Saint-Germain, RB Leipzig, Club Brugge, Amos, Club Brugge into that group. Is that another? Is that? I mean, again, stinks of 6 points.
You'd think, wouldn't you? But I think I'm right in saying they've caused a few headaches for some big teams down the line. They may or may not have beaten Real Madrid. I don't know if that's a fluctuation, but I think it was one of those earlier 6 o'clock kickoffs. The capable, obviously, Mignolet is in Brugge at the moment, and also a big lumpy striker in Bas Dost, who made the move from the Bundesliga, and he scored goals for fun.
He did
fun wherever he's gone. So it'll be.
I think the Group G is wide open, isn't it? With Lille, Sevilla, Salzburg, and Wolfsburg. I think anyone can get through that.
Yeah.
Malmo going to
Malmo are out.
Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea. You expect Chelsea and Juve to qualify from that, then, wouldn't you? Really looking at that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think the only real trip up is the trip to Zenit. I mean,
it's almost immediately a battle for first place in that group, and then you've got a battle for third in the Europa League between Malmo and Zenit.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. That's the other thing. If you get drawn into a group with two really good teams, and you're, not an average team because you're in the Champions League, but in terms of the Champions League, you're pretty much average. How do you, it's a good chance for you to advance into the Europa League at a latter stage.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
Dynamo Kiev have completely ruined Group E, by the way, going into a team full of E's with a D. Again, that's not a euphemism. That is just starting of the group team name.
I mean, Sheriff with Inter and Real Madrid.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah. Inter and Real Madrid and Shakhtar. Sheriff.
Their goal difference.
That's good for them going to Real Madrid and Inter. Going to the San Siro.
To be fair.
Going to the two capitals of Italy and Spain.
Yeah,
you'd be happy,
you'll take that. Sheriff Tiraspol. I'll just back this up to get it all right. I think I've got every team in there now. Just
you can flip it on.
Replace the ticker. So there are your full groups at the bottom. You've got Group A with Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain, RB Leipzig, and Club Brugge. Group B is Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, Porto, and AC Milan. Group C, Sporting Lisbon, Borussia Dortmund, Ajax, and Besiktas. Group D is Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Shakhtar, and Sheriff Tiraspol. Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Benfica, and Dynamo Kiev make up Group E. In Group F, you've got Villarreal and Man United, obviously a repeat of last season's Europa League final there, along with Atalanta and Young Boys. And finally, not finally, you've got Lille, Sevilla, Salzburg, and I've lost the last team in there. Wolfsburg, of course.
Yeah.
I can't see the rest of the group now. You see, it's being cut off, so I'll just have to wait for it to come back up on the bottom of the ticket. It's gone off my screen.
Chelsea, Juve, and Malmo.
Malmo. Thank you, Kai.
Yeah. No worries.
Right, so Kai, we'll start with you. Manchester United have got their group drawn. How are you feeling about the group now that it's all here?
Yeah, I think I'm relatively happy. I think you look at the other clubs in England. I think you could make a case for Chelsea probably having the best group, but we haven't got a big boy like Juve in our group. Arguably we've probably got one of the better groups from the domestic teams. Villarreal, I think we should be, like I've said, I think we should be okay with it not being a final. Atalanta, I think, will be the tough one. I think with them, they're a side that you always look at and think maybe you don't want to come up against those. I'm not even sure what style football they play, to be honest with you, Atalanta. I've not really seen much of them in terms of in Serie A. I don't know if you two know any better than I do, but they're a team that, I just, you look at them and they always seem to get a result against the big team, and you think, maybe don't want those, and then young boys, to make up the numbers. I'm happy with that. But then again, like I said, we said that against Istanbul last season, and we ended up slipping up against them. So who knows? But I'm relatively happy with that. I think it's probably one of the ideal situations coming into the groups. We managed to avoid the Bayern and the Atletico, the big ones. So yeah, we're relatively okay with it.
Lovely stuff. And Amos, obviously for Manchester City, is it a tough group? Are you happy? What's your thought process after seeing who you've been drawn with?
Yeah, so there used to be a time really when City would go into Champions League draws and a team they'd pull out would be a new opponent for them, obviously having not been around in the European sort of quota for that long. However, the last couple of years we've seen whenever City have pulled a team, it's been a repeat of a fixture that's already happened, and we've not really seen any new games for City. But this draw has pulled up two teams who City in Europe have never played before, in RB Leipzig and in Club Brugge. You've also got the tie of the tournament, I think everybody would agree on, in terms of PSG. And well, if you're going to criticise City in Europe last season, you're probably going to say the knockout games where they've struggled. I put that down to a case of them coming out of the group, not really having had a big challenge in the group because we've been playing against lesser teams. This season, that can't be an excuse because City are going to have to be on top form to come out, at least qualify from this group, because RB Leipzig are capable of causing a shock. Like we said before, Club Brugge have taken points off Real Madrid in Champions League groups before, and little needs to be added about PSG and Lionel Messi.
Yeah, certainly that's a tasty fixture. I think everyone's going to want to watch that. From a Liverpool point of view, I mean, I think it's only right that we play AC Milan on the way back to Istanbul for our 7th European Cup. No, I think, obviously, Atletico Madrid's a very, very difficult tie. Good side. I mean, out of all the teams in pot one, I think they're not one of the ones I would have wanted as such, but not one of the ones I was particularly worried about avoiding. Porto's a decent draw for us. I think we do well in Porto all the time. Every time we've played there, again, clip this up. But I think that's 6 points for us. And AC Milan is just a nice game. I think we'll beat them. Certainly at Anfield, I think we'll beat them. It's a nice game for us to sort of, as you say, it's one of the biggest biggest teams in European football. It's nice to get them. Ultimately, yeah, I think we'll definitely finish at least second anyway. That we won't be dropping into the Europa League. I think again, clip it up. Kai's laughing. Just providing plenty of ammunition for later in December. But,
we're just time stamping it all, honest, David.
Yeah, he's just writing it all down at 26
on
the 28th or 26th of August. No, I think generally all four of the English teams should be getting through the group stages. I think we're seeing a little bit of a return to the sort of mid to late 2000s, early 2010s domination of English teams.
No Arsenal though.
Well, yeah, we've just swapped Arsenal out for Manchester City. We've got a new model.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
got a better model. Arsenal fell out. Obviously not even in the Europa League. The Europa League draw, by the way, for anyone that is interested, is live tomorrow. I don't know why it's live on 2 separate days. That I don't get that, but
yeah, they normally do it straight after,
that's the way it is. Yeah, they usually do. Yeah, but not.
There's qualifiers tonight, isn't there? It's Thursday night.
Of course it is.
Yeah,
of course it is.
So they need those games out of the way first.
Because I felt like the Champions League draw at 5 o'clock of the night is a bit of a weird one. It's usually 11 o'clock in the morning, but UEFA are moving with the times. Let's just obviously again go through the groups and round them all off again. You've got Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain, RB Leipzig, and Club Brugge in Group A. Group B, you've got Atletico Madrid, you've got Liverpool, Porto, and AC Milan. Group C, I've lost on my screen again. Let me get it back up. Group C is Sporting Lisbon, Borussia Dortmund, Ajax, and Besiktas. Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Sheriff Tiraspol in Group D. Group E, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Benfica, and Dynamo Kiev. Group F, Villarreal, Manchester United, Atalanta, and Young Boys. Group G, Lille, Sevilla, Salzburg, and Wolfsburg. And finally, Group H, you've got Chelsea, Juventus, Zenit St. Petersburg, and Malmo. Gentlemen, I think we will wrap it up for now. That was the Champions League draw. Hopefully, we'll be back in sort of early to late December to see who we're all drawing out in the round of 16 or whatever it's going to be at that stage. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you to those of you that have watched on both Facebook and YouTube. If you'd like to get more content like this, join us next Tuesday or Wednesday, potentially in the week. And for more national relevant football chat. If you do want to follow one of our local teams as well, head to one of the local TV Facebook pages to get more podcasts like this about local teams. Kai, Amos, thank you very much for your time. I'll give you some time now to go away and have a breather and get used to your new group. Get on Wikipedia, Amos, and start finding out some.
Get back on it.
Love
I've used them all out today.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We all use it, let's face it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being with us, and goodbye for now.